A city based on industry, from market stalls to collieries, owners, directors and entrepreneurs. Oh, we've got all that and more. No matter how high you fly, no matter how far you go, the spotlight's on you and we call Wrexham home.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Wrexham Business Spotlight podcast. My name's Adrian from AB Accountancy. I'm the host of this podcast. This is the show based on Wrexham businesses, and each week we meet a different Wrexham business owner, learn a bit more about their business, the challenges they face operating a Wrexham business. This week's guest is John White from Zebra Customs Design. At first notice that may not be familiar, I can guarantee there's at least one piece of John's work that everyone in Wrexham will have known, and we'll get into that. John, do you want to start by introducing yourself?
So my name's John and I own Zebra Customs. I started the business around 2.5 years ago in the lockdown period, and it's just flourished from then, and it's become a big part of my life now, so I'm really looking forward to where it'll take me in the future.
Okay, so for benefit of people who don't know you, what exactly does Zebra Customs do?
So primarily we customise shoes, so if you bring me a brand new pair of shoes, I can put more or less any design on it. I've continued to venture out and do different things, so I've gone with denim jackets and more notably football boots. That was one of the big things I really wanted to do. I wanted to provide custom football boots for professional footballers and have them wear them on the pitch, and so far we've achieved that fairly well.
How many professional footballers do you think have worn your designs?
So counting the Wrexham players, I think there's about 7 or 8 of them, I want to say. I'd have to reel them off, I'll have to have a think of who's done them. But yeah, so I've covered about half the team. I've also touched the women's team as well. I have one women's player wearing them. And outside of football, it's been UFC fighters was the first one, and I've also had a professional boxer wear some shoes as well.
Okay, great. So sort of covering some different bases and different sports there.
The plan is to cover most of the international sports in the world. I'd like to get a pair or an athlete that's wearing shoes in each sport. That'd be really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah. I don't tend to get these big celebrities in the accountancy world, so
yeah,
quite jealous straight away.
It'd be really cool to do that, I think.
And so what's your background? What's led you to being designing football boots and trainers?
I've always enjoyed like drawing and stuff like that, and my mum was a really good artist, and I kind of like sort of saw her work and was like, oh, that's really good. I wouldn't say I was like the best artist in school, far from it. I was more of just I enjoyed doing it. I started studying like sports and exercise science in university. It was interesting, but it wasn't really giving me any fulfillment. And then I had a conversation with one of my sports tutors who formerly taught me in college, and he was like, well, where are you going? What do you want to do? And he spoke about trainers, and I think he wanted me to like maybe sell trainers or something. I was like, well, I could maybe try and paint on trainers or something. So I did some research. There's a guy on YouTube who I can't thank enough. I've spoken to him many times and said thank you for all the help you've given me. He sort of got me started on where I needed to be, and then it's just gone from there, really.
Is that someone you knew or just someone you've approached?
No, I've approached him. He's quite big in America. He deals with a lot of the NFL athletes. He creates a lot of, they call them cleats in America, but he's done a lot of cleats for them. Spoke to him, I was like, how do I start with this? And he directed me to one of his tutorials on YouTube, watched it, and then I just never went back from there, really.
That's great. It's great that he was prepared to help you as
well.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, he's so helpful. Like I found a lot in this particular industry. There's a lot of people that just won't help you. There's a lot of people that won't tell you what sort of materials to use, how you're supposed to prep the shoes ready to paint. A lot of people will just like ignore you, but this guy is just, he's the number one. He's very helpful. I'm very grateful to him.
And at what point did you realise this sort of hobby and interest you had could become a business?
I think when I started to get a lot of like interactions and traction from people within Wrexham, and they were like, oh, this is interesting. And then I think the big thing was when I first reached out to the first UFC fighter I did, and he responded and I did them, and I just remember that feeling of fulfillment where it was like, wow, all it takes is just a couple of messages and you can really create something, or you can really make an opportunity for yourself. And that was the biggest thing I think to tell anybody is you can make your own opportunities very easily if you just put a bit of effort in.
Yeah, so you're using what we'd call a very direct method of sales there, aren't you?
Yeah, of course.
Directly approaching the customer you want.
Yeah, it won't work. Like, you could message 100 people and you might get one reply, but that one reply can lead to something amazing, really.
And that first message, are you just offering a design, or are you giving them an example of what you think they'd like? Researching the person first? And
so this person in particular was like, he's my favourite fighter in the sport, so that was amazing in itself. And I was just like, oh, hi his name's Wonderboy, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I said, hi Wonderboy, I'm a big fan from the UK, and it helps that we've got like a common interest. So he likes anime. I'm not sure if you're aware, it's like a Japanese cartoon.
yeah.
He's really into it, and I'm into it as well. And I said, oh, I'd love to make you an anime themed pair of shoes. And then he replies, and it's like, right, okay, this is nice, we're going somewhere.
Okay. So I did touch on it right at the top that people who haven't heard of you or Zebra Customs Design, they will be very familiar with at least one piece of work you did. Do you want to go into what that was and spill the beans on that?
Yeah, it was the... you swear on here, right?
No.
Okay, well, it was the F the Tories football boots. I'm sure everybody saw them. They made Sky Sports News, the little ticker bar. That was quite fun. Everyone in work was not giving me abuse, but they were saying, oh my God.
And they were for Paul Mullin, weren't they?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, I'd done work with Paul previously. He was actually the first Wrexham player that I'd worked with. He wanted a pair doing for the FA Trophy final. And then this pair came about. He approached me and said, can you put this on shoes? And I looked at what he'd said and I just started laughing. I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. We got the pair sorted, and within an hour, not even an hour, within 10-15 minutes of posting them, my phone just exploded, and it was all over the news, all over every social media site. And yeah, it went absolutely crazy. It was that week was I had so many messages, abusive messages. I had people asking me to come on certain shows and stuff to speak about them. It was wild. Yeah.
Did you go on any shows?
I didn't, because there was a bit of a conflict of interest with me at the club, as well as I thought, for me it was like, I don't want to ruin any opportunities I have in the future, if that makes sense, because I know they're a bit wary of me now. I think I can just feel it. Like whenever I go there, the players, the staff are all great, but when I go, I think they're like, oh no. Yeah.
My impression from that episode was the club didn't like that the picture of the boots had the stand with Wrexham on it in the background, and they're then being directly into it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what it was, and that was probably a mistake on my part, to be honest. So.
You say a mistake, but added to all the publicity.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, it was the most public thing I've ever had, for sure, and it probably will be for a long time. I don't think you're ever going to top that. And it was
That's your aim.
More so, it was great, and I believe I totally stand for what he's wanted on the shoes. I think it's his opinion, and it's not a wrong opinion in my opinion.
Hello everybody, this episode of the Wrexham Business Spotlight is sponsored by AB Accountancy, who are an accountancy firm based in the heart of Wrexham who believe in producing high quality accounts and unbeatable customer service. You can visit our website www.abaccountancy.co, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, where we regularly post hints and tips to help you with your accounts and your tax. If you would like to sponsor an episode of this podcast in season 2, please get in touch. Right, sorry for disturbing you, let's get back to the podcast. Okay. So one thing I think everyone is trying to do in business is use the word leverage. So you're trying to leverage opportunities you've got to benefit in the future. So obviously that was a lot of exposure for you at one time. How did you ensure that you could leverage that to your benefit? So how did you get across the message that it was you who designed them boots, rather than people just know what it said on them?
Yeah, that was quite a difficult one, really, because a lot of the newspaper articles that posted them didn't really include my name. which was a bit frustrating. It's one of them where I didn't want to chase it up and be like, oh yeah, it was me, because as much as it was nice that I did it, it wasn't really about me. It was more just about the message and what it meant. I don't think people really were too fussed that I made them. I think it was just more the fact that a football player has had this on his boots, and it's, wow, how could he do that?
So has your working with Paul Mullin led to other opportunities off the back of his name and his profile?
I'm very grateful to be able to continue to work with him, because especially now he's got such a big profile, and more so, if I'm honest, just being able to have him wear something I've created and make history in something I've created, because how would you have a better ambassador than that? He's literally top goal scorer in the FA Cup, like amongst players like Haaland. It's just mind-boggling.
And he scored them goals in your
every
boots.
time. Literally, I put a post out in the last pair that I did for him last season. I said, these are the boots that will take Wrexham to the Football League, and they did. So I was literally there that day that they beat Boreham Wood, and he scored 2 goals.
Same,
so
yeah, he completely changed that
right
game,
foot,
didn't he?
left foot.
Yeah, unbelievable. So you said you worked with other Wrexham players as well?
Yeah.
Is that on the back of Paul? Has he sort of recommended you? And
Well, it was. I started with Paul, and then Ollie was like, "Oh, I want some." I was like, "Right, okay, no worries, all." Then I spoke to Ben Tozer. He was like, "Oh, I'd like the kids on me boots." I was like, "Yeah, no worries." Then I approached Elliot Lee because I felt like, one, he was playing so well, and I think I love the way he plays. He's brilliant. And two, I think he has a lot of good links, especially with obviously his godfather's Alan Shearer. I felt it'd be good to get him to wear them, because that's like a good representation of where I'm at. Who else? Jacob Mendy. I like Jacob because Jacob's, again, with the Wonder Boy thing, we have lots of similar interests, and with Jacob's I knew I could get creative on his, because I know he likes like little niche things that I like, so
okay.
There's a lot of scope for what I can actually do on his, so yeah, it was his as well. Yeah. I also did Andy Cannon's boots as well, the Lion King theme ones. They went down really well on the social media.
yeah, I remember the Lion King link with Andy Cannon, because I think it was told on Ben Foster's Fozcast.
Yeah.
Didn't he say he was driving home and he saw a lion in the middle of the road or something?
Yeah, he's driving. It's so odd. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's just, I don't know.
Do you think it's true?
I don't know. I don't want to say I wasn't there. So I mean, maybe I'll just ask Andy.
Yeah. Was that his idea for that design, or was that your design?
It was actually more of a surprise, because I'd spoke with a couple of the lads and I was like, "What do you think Andy would think if I put these on his shoes?" And then just started laughing. He's class. He'd love that. So I did it, and then I actually showed him, and he was really happy. Like, it was probably one of the better reactions I've got out of the players. And I've actually spoke to him because he knows Ella Toon, the women's. I want to say she's a striker for United.
Okay.
I don't know if they grew up together or something, but there's a potential link there to get in with her for the women's team. So
Has Andy worn the Lion King boots?
I'm not sure if he's trained in them, because I did push him to wear them in a game, because it'd be cool to see them on the race course. But we'll wait and see. I'm sure they'll be wearing at some point.
So your link now is to go from Andy Cannon to Ella Toon, and then from the Man United women's team
To the men's
team.
That's it.
So you've got a pathway in, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing. For me, like I said, the big thing is a Rangers player is big for me, just because I'm a Rangers fan. And then a United, or just a Premier League player in general would be really good.
Great. Any other noticeable humorous designs that we know about?
I did a pair for some Wrexham fans in Wrexham community to be aware of. His name's Jake Dodd. He's a professional fighter fighting out of Wrexham. He got his first win a few months ago, so he's 1-0 in the pros. His knockout went viral. I think about 4 million people.
He's boxing, not UFC, isn't he?
He's a boxer, yeah. So I did a pair of custom boxing shoes for him. He was really happy with them. So, and I went to school with him, so it's just nice to give a bit back to an athlete that I knew as a kid. So.
And I guess boxers wear bigger shoes, you can probably get a bit more of a design on, can't you?
Yeah, and like I said, it's just the fact that they don't go through the wear and tear that the football boots do. So I think there's more scope for more designs, not having to worry about any durability issues. So.
And potentially huge markets if you get to the real top end of the boxes.
We'll be on ESPN or BT Sports.
The likes of Tyson Fury in your boots, that'll work, won't it?
I'm convinced it's going to happen. So.
Oh, best of luck with that.
Yeah.
And it's not just designing, is it? You're actually taking away these players' boots and producing the artwork on it.
Yeah, it's literally, so it's
doing the paintwork.
A big process. I don't think people realise what you have to actually do, especially with football boots. There's a lot of prep work that needs doing to ensure that the paint will actually stick to the boot. And I have had mixed results, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not going to pretend like, oh yeah, every pair has been perfect and the paint stayed on. Like, there has been times where paint's come off and I've been like, oh, why has this happened? Then I have to go back, research, figure out why it's happening.
Okay. So I guess for you to really sort of, again, use that word leverage, for you to get the benefit of working with Wrexham players, you're probably reliant on them promoting you and thanking you on their social media pages.
Yeah, and to be honest, for the most part, they've all been great. Like I said, it can be a story post or even putting it on their pages. But that's the best mode of like social media coverage, is them posting it on their actual page. Then everybody that follows them can see it, and then it just goes from there. Like,
that's a much bigger reach than you've got yourself.
I can't stress enough like how important that is for creators such as myself. Like, if you're working with somebody that's high profile, then all it takes is them to just post, and it helps a lot.
What's Paul Mullin's Instagram following? Any ideas?
Last time I checked, it was 150k, I believe. So I think he's probably the 4th or 5th highest following I think I've worked with.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, every time you post, there's 150,000 people that can potentially see it and more. So.
If you're thinking in terms of other forms of marketing, to reach 150,000 people would cost the business a lot of money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so, like, literally, it's a slow process. I think, like I said, it's with stuff like the big boost of the F the Tories boots. Like, they took me up to like past 1,000. But then it's such a slow process. It's hard to build yourself up. It's really hard. Unless you get one big break like that, it's difficult.
Yeah, I think once you're bigger, you grow bigger.
Yeah,
it's that initial push.
Once you get to a certain
difficult.
mark, I think it'll start. So I'm confident we'll get there.
Yeah. So what's the future plans? Do you plan to sort of use your exposure in Wrexham to produce trainers for everyday people in Wrexham, or do you want to get into other football clubs and Premier League players perhaps?
I think long term, I'd like to make a bespoke shoe for Wrexham. Like, actually design a shoe, not paint it. Like, actually manufacture a shoe that's like for Wrexham or Wrexham themed. I've got an idea for a clothing brand that it's very early days yet, but I've got things in place to create that. I hope that'll help me get to where I want to be. In terms of actual designs for players, I'll continue to do Wrexham players because they have been good to me, and I feel like I'm giving a bit back to the town, I suppose, in a way. My personal goals is I want to get a Rangers player done, because I'm actually a Rangers fan. I was born in Glasgow, so, and I'd like to get a Premier League player done as well, and I hope to do that this season.
And is that been done by directly messaging people like you did?
I think it's
UFC
well. I actually went up to the Rangers training ground a few weeks ago, just to speak to like some of the workers there and just say this is who I am, this is what I do. Gave a couple of business cards across, because again, I just think if you really want to do these things, you've got to go out your way and maybe get not uncomfortable, but for some people, traveling 4 hours is a bit of a pain, but this is what I want to do, so you've got to do these things.
And do you know what, for all the modern forms of marketing, for all the social media and email drops people do, there is a place for knocking on doors and speaking to people direct, isn't there?
Literally.
And that seems to be working for you at the moment.
100%, yeah, I think that's been the best. I've tried different stuff. I've tried like paid advertisement. I've tried, like I said, I've even tried like giveaways and stuff like that. So giving people an incentive to then follow and share, and because they might win something. But I think the best mode of getting yourself out there is working with these high profile people and having them like, wearing your product essentially. If you look at all the massive markets, that's what they do. They get famous people to wear their things.
Yeah, and look how Nike did with Michael Jordan back in the day.
Exactly,
That's probably the example, isn't it, of how it works.
Paul Mullin's my Michael Jordan at the minute.
There you go. And he's a much better one, isn't he?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So just going back to, you said you want your own clothing range and design your own trainers. What sort of time scale are we looking at on this?
The clothing will definitely. I'm hoping to get it done by the end of this year, like even sooner if I can. There's just a bit of a hold up on the suppliers, and we're just trying to work through that at the minute. I think the town will appreciate it, what it is.
So you've sourced a supplier, you've got the design sorted. What about selling? Have you got a place of sale? Are you going to be physically retailing or online
it'll probably
retailing?
be same again. It'll probably just be me spreading the word at first, and then because I'm confident that I can get it running fairly quickly, because thankfully I have such good like links with the club that I can help use them to my benefit potentially, and yeah, we'll just see where it goes from there.
Awesome. I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, be good.
Look forward to a freebie on the back of you being on this.
potentially,
Yeah, nice t-shirt will do me,
yeah.
thanks. So what challenges do you think your business faces?
Just hot and cold spells with selling, I think, because sadly it's not something that everybody can afford or want at a certain time. I think a lot of it just comes in influxes, so 1 minute I can be dead for like a month, 2 months, and then the next minute I'll have 5 or 6 people messaging me saying that they want this and this and this. So I think, just staying motivated. I think working with the players helps me do that, because I'm constantly working still, keeping up to scratch with painting, and then obviously just waiting for the next order to come in really.
And will the clothing range sort of alleviate that? Do you think you'll then be more of a steady busy?
Yeah, I think it'll just give me that other thing just to keep going with, and just another income really. Okay.
Great, I look forward to seeing all that. What are your plans for future and clothing range? You want to get to Premier League players?
Yeah, so...
Anything else in your lofty ambitions?
Like I said, it just really depends on how it goes, to be honest. I wouldn't say coasting at the minute, but I'm just steady at the minute, just keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm just focusing on little personal goals as well as trying to build the business. I'd like to, with the clothing thing, I'd like that to be on a global scale, to be honest. I'd like to sort of contact America. I think they'll be right up for it, because they love the club at the moment, don't they? And I think they'll be sort of interested. I'd like to speak with Rob and Ryan directly, and sort of, no, I don't need anything from them, more so than just to let them know like who I am and what I'm doing.
So I believe you have spoken to Rob before.
Yeah, so Rob actually follows me now on Instagram, which is pretty cool. We spoke a couple of times. I met him last year, where I handed him over a pair of custom gazelles with one side had eagles on and one side had Wrexham on, and he was like really happy with them as far as I could tell. And then there was a funny sequence where I was supposed to give Ryan his, but I was rushed because they actually came around to film for the documentary. They were filming me painting Rob's shoes, but then because it was like too soon for me to get both pairs done, like they ended up just like kind of cutting it, which was a bit upsetting, but I think we'll get that again. Yeah, so I gave Rob his, and then I was like, oh yeah, Ryan, sorry, I've not got yours. And then obviously the actor in him triggered. He's like, oh, well, I don't believe you. It was quite funny.
Have you caught any clips of Rob McElhenney wearing your trainers?
No, because I believe they were the wrong size.
Oh.
I did my research, but my research failed me, and he's actually given to his son to wear.
So in terms of trying to get global and into America, is that something you've thought through at the moment, and you know how you'd go about doing that?
I've had a couple of orders from America, which was nice. So I am there very slightly. I think if I do the t-shirts and I get enough people wearing them from Wrexham, and then even maybe some of the players, I think people will see it and they'll be like, all right, okay, get me involved. So.
Yeah. So what's your initial plans for this season then? Obviously, we'll start the football season as we record.
So I've got a couple of pairs still to do for Mullin because he's dropped off a few pairs with me, and that was like, all right, okay, that'll keep me busy. And I'll probably pick off a couple more players just to do. I thought because I'd like to have the whole team at one point wearing them. That'd be really cool if they all had custom shoes on. It'd be hard because obviously the team rotates a lot, but
yeah,
I think it's something I can make happen.
It's quite a big squad they've got now as well, isn't it? So that'll be a lot of work for you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so what does success look like to you?
It's a strange. For me, it was. I don't even know if I have been successful, to be honest. I've been successful in terms of people, like notoriety a little bit. I think it's just at the moment I'm kind of just doing it for me. It's like it's like a feel good factor, I think, because I was a bit not in a hole, but I was a bit like treading water. I didn't really know what to do with myself, and this has given me a sense of purpose, I think. So I guess that could come under success.
It does, yeah.
I think the money will come in the future, but at the moment it's just about creating these memories and these moments that I can look back on and think, yeah, I did that.
Is there, say, a minimum point you think you need to get the business to where you can sit back and think, I've done it, I'm really happy with where I am and I've achieved what I want?
If I can change my life from it, then I guess I've changed my life at the moment anyway. Not massively, but more like a mental side of it. It's been like, I've got something to be proud of, but I've not really done anything, so it's a weird one. Like, I don't see myself, like, I've had a lot of people from where I grew up, like, up in Brumbo, and like, people, oh, you've made it. I was like, no, I haven't. I was like, I'm nowhere near. I'm the same as you. I've just done something. I've created something very small, and it's just going to grow, hopefully.
Okay. And if you had one piece of advice that you could give to someone who was looking to start a business in your field or in any field at all, what's the one thing you've learned that you think a new business owner would need to be aware of or could really benefit from?
Just give it a go. Honestly, if you've got any interest in anything at all, just try. Just attempt it, because you just never know. Like it's easy for me to say because it's like, oh, I'm doing it, but it's just that simple. It's just, if you have a passion about something, or you even a slight interest in something, and you kind of sit there and think, oh, what if I did this? Oh, it'd be cool if I did this. Just try, because the worst that can happen is you're not good at it or you fail at it, but you can just try again with something else.
And it's not a fail, it's learning, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Every loss is a lesson, I suppose.
A lot of what we consider the top entrepreneurs have had businesses that haven't worked, haven't they? And
of course.
they've grafted around until they've found what works for them.
Yeah.
The one thing I think from this conversation that I think is a really good learning is don't be scared to use direct methods of selling.
Yeah.
Is what worked for you.
I think
it's very easy to just put posts on Instagram and Twitter and expect people to start following you.
Yeah.
Obviously that is very difficult, it doesn't happen. So you've really sort of gone the more direct route and knocked on people's doors, and there's definitely a place for that old fashioned.
Yeah, I think within reason, like, just not getting people's faces, but literally just let them know that you're there and you're serious, and people will take you seriously. Like, if you're there saying, this is what I want to do, I'd love it. I'd love you to be a part of it. I'd love to do this for you. I think it's hard for people to turn down. Like, yeah, you just got to be direct, I guess.
Yeah. And you've found a niche product that you know the people you're approaching would likely want.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that will get their interest.
Like, I've changed as a person in the past 3 years, like, massively because of this. It's like I said, it's given you, it's built like a sense of confidence in which I can come to somebody and offer them something, whereas before I had nothing to offer. So yeah, it's like changed my mindset as a person, I believe.
So what sort of skills do you think you've developed along the way then?
Communication skills, yeah, I guess just confidence. Yeah, I don't know. It's become a lot easier to speak with people and be direct, and yeah, I just think it's, like I said, it's just changed my whole persona, I think.
Okay. Always finish these podcasts by giving the interviewee a chance to highlight another business that they think deserves the spotlight put on them. Could be someone you use for your business, or someone you use as a sort of direct consumer. Is there any Wrexham businesses you want to throw a spotlight onto?
The pencil craftsman, Liam Stokes,
Yeah.
some of the work he's been putting out is ridiculous.
Another one operating with your friend Paul?
Yeah, I just think he deserves it because I've been in to see him. He's such a modest, humble guy, but some of the stuff he's putting out is ridiculous, and that mural was just insane. And yeah, I just think he deserves more credit than what he gets, really.
So I'd agree on the pencil craftsman. That is a ridiculous talent he's got. The mural is, I couldn't even contemplate
it's amazing.
thinking about drawing that.
Like that's the thing, that's a big thing as well. Like he's so talented as well. And then the stuff that I've done in the past that's taken me hours and hours to do, and my best work, and then nobody's really seen it. And then something like the F the Tories pair, which is quite a simple design, gets so much attention. So it can be quite frustrating for artists when stuff like that happen, but this is the world we live in, and this is social media, I'm afraid.
It is. Right, so John, thank you very much for being on the Wrexham Business Spotlight. It's been great to learn more about your business, your path, and what you've got ahead of you, and what you're planning to do is fantastic. So I'm sure everyone will enjoy keeping an eye out for you.
Yeah.
And watching those Wrexham players' feet as they're running up and down the racecourse. So thanks so much for being on.
Thanks very much.
Top man.
No matter how high you fly, no matter how far you go, the spotlight's on you and we call Wrexham home.
Hello everybody, it's Adrian here. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Wrexham Business Spotlight podcast. It's very much appreciated. Please also support our guests and their wonderful businesses. You can like and subscribe to this. You could share the podcast so your friends can enjoy it. And you could also find us on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts, and let us hear your feedback. Thank you very much, and see you on the next episode.